Hey everybody, it's Deanna with toolsofenergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert, and we are back this week in front of the whiteboard because we have some more things to view. So, if I'm not mistaken, it's June 14th? July. I can't even get the date right. July 14th, 2020. Well, that's funny because tonight I'm talking to you about time distortion. So some people that are very close to me in my life were telling me that they felt, like they get up at a certain time every morning and it's pretty routine, and they felt like it should be noon and it was only like an hour later. Other people have been contacting me saying, hey, I feel like my days are so long that they never get over. I have other people tell me that they're going just really super fast. So we've got a lot of different variances in time distortion. What does that mean? And what effect does that have on you in regards to Schumann's resonant frequency or the heartbeat of the earth? So, that's a lot to cover, and we're going to do it in a very short amount of time. So, to begin with, I did some research because I wanted, the desired outcome was to know how Schumann's resonant frequency or the heartbeat of the earth affects us as human beings, because we've been looking at the Schumann's chart, resonant frequency chart. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, you will recognize this chart here, and I will post this today on toolsofenergyprotection.com. Click on the blog that doesn't show right up at the top. But we've talked about these frequencies. We've talked about how the different white and yellow are agitations of the ionosphere and other factors. And then when all that stops, the white bit is when the energy stops and everything's reverberating and reacting to it. And when it comes all the way down here to the bottom, that's really, we'll say, not good, because the normal would be right in here, and so that's running all the way down the page. And I did tell you that Schumann's on the bottom is at 40, and I did tell you that 40 was the biggest on the scale, and I have since learned today that Schumann actually has it where it goes to 80, but that doesn't show on here, so we have to stick with the 40. Anyway, so if you look, I ran this right before I got on, as I normally do, and let's see her. 10, 9, 8, 7. So around 5 o'clock Colorado time this morning, that's when some of the energy stopped, but not all of them. What does that mean? Well, imagine taking a ball and throwing it on the floor, and it bounces up to your hand, you hit it again, and then when you stop, it's gonna slow down and eventually stand still or roll away. Well, the energies are being pushed a lot, and they finally stand still. That's where you get the white bit, okay? And that's when a lot of people will report feeling more things than less things. So when I first started doing this, I thought this was the big push, and it's not. It's here, okay? So we're going to break it down a little bit, and the desired outcome was I wanted to know was how does the Schumann's resonant effect have an effect on the body? And you're like, okay, what does this have to do with time distortion? Well, there's a lot of theories that Einstein and Nikola Tesla and other mathematicians and scientists came up with about time and how it's fluid and how it doesn't really exist and, a bunch of different things. But for the purposes of us feeling fatigued, for us feeling very tired, for us feeling like we're losing time or we're gaining time, or perhaps your heart's been palpitating, then stick close, because I'm about to reveal to you in very short order why. And we're going to begin with remembering Schumann's frequency is the heartbeat of the earth. This is the electromagnetism of our planet, the one we walk on, okay? And this is electronic. These are electronic waves. Magnetism is electronic. Your physical body is biological, or carbon, and electromagnetic. That's what makes your heart pump, right? Okay? With all those things going on, if our planet's frequency is changing, how does that affect us? And more succinctly, how does that affect our minds? Because our minds are how we perceive things, yes? Can I get a thumbs up if you feel like your mind helps you to understand your world and how you perceive things? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, so we got a few thumbs up there. Great. Now, I went online and I did some research because I wanted to have some scientific proof on how it is that Schumann's, the heartbeat of the earth, affects the human body, because we all know that it does because we've been feeling it. We've had headaches, we've had insomnia, we couldn't get enough sleep, we couldn't go to sleep, we felt fatigued, we felt drained, we felt energized. And for those of us that are menopausal, some of us had hot flashes that were out of this world that we'd never had before. So I pulled a study today on neuroquantology. Woo, big word, neuroquantology. And that the authors, I'd like to give them some recognition. I do have a hard time with their names, but I believe it is Marciak, Kolazanski, and Kolazanski. So I will post this on toolsofenergyprotection.com on the blog so that you can go read it if you would like. But I do quote, they did a study for the first time, and I believe this study was done in 2015, so 5 years ago in June. And the study says that they did a classical description of Schumann's and the brain waves. So the brain waves is what helps us to shape our world, our 3D world anyway. And breaking into their study, about the 6th paragraph down, it says, there is a harmonic relationship between the earth and our mind bodies, our minds and our bodies. The earth's low frequency, the isoelectric field, the magnetic field of the earth, and the electrostatic field, which emerges from our bodies, are closely interwoven. Wow, right there, scientific, not woo-woo. Our physical body is interwoven with the planet. And they go on to say that our internal rhythms interact with the external rhythms, affecting our balance. Okay? How many of you have been trouble with balance and dropping things lately? It affects our REM patterns, our sleep, our ability to dream, our health, and our mental focus. Woohoo! There we go. So the Schumann's resonant frequency waves help us to regulate our body's internal clocks. They affect sleeping and dream patterns, arousal patterns, and hormonal secretion. Woohoo! There we go, ladies and gentlemen, right there on a scientific study. As you know, I like to have science come into spirituality as well as what we find in the Bible so that we can come together. This is a time of great awakening. This is a time for us to no longer push away things. As a matter of fact, I had something I'd like to share with you, and then I'll finish this up. 3 weeks ago, the Tuesday night that I do, of course I post them up on YouTube because a lot of people just want to watch them on the YouTube channel. But get this, ladies and gentlemen, 931 views on that. That's the biggest amount I've ever had so far. I usually get in the hundreds or the 50s. So people are really waking up to this. And then I had 71 hits on my website alone just to look at this in a single day. Normally I get about 30 people a day, maybe 10, okay? Just being real. So when I see stats like that, I know that there's a huge interest of the masses and across the board. And so I'm so super excited that I've been doing this job. Believe this or not, I have been in this business professionally for 15 years. And I've been doing this broadcast, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years. And I started writing about frequencies about, roughly 7 years ago. Because it is so important. But my job is I'm a spiritual mentor. And people kept saying, Deanna, why are you doing all of this stuff? And writing these really super long articles. I used to write pages and pages, because people didn't understand it, much less did they care. And they wanted their connection with their health, their wealth, and their romance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Your health, your wealth, and your romantic partner relationship is part of this Schumann's frequency, because right here, in a scientific study, yes, only read one, it talks about how that the heartbeat of the earth is interwoven. The isoelectric field is directly related to us and our patterns, our health, our mental focus, and they affect the dream patterns. So maybe people pay more attention to this, okay? And you may ask me, well, so what? Well, listen to this. The most important slow rhythm is the daily rhythm sensed directly as a change of light, okay? Rhythm connected with the daily rhythm are called the circadian. Well, I knew that. It has to do with your melatonin and stuff. Some experiments in the absence of natural light have shown that the basic human clock is actually slightly lower than the one day. Sorry, it's actually slightly longer than one day and closer to a lunar day. So it's 24 hours and 50 minutes. Why is that important? Because when the electromagnetism comes from Schumann's, our sleep is off. And if we're participating in a 24-hour clock as opposed to about a 25-hour clock, you know, it kind of gets really super loopy, especially at the equinox and when things change on the lengths of days of our planet. Anyways, I digress. So let's go a little bit further and ask yourself, why is this important, Deanna? Why are you telling me about this? How can this affect me other than I nod my head and go, okay, great. Schumann's is, you know, controlling my life. Well, I asked my guides because I wanted, my desired outcome was to find out, and I want to do, I will do some more study and get back to you. But our brain waves, our human brain waves, I pulled some information on that. And when we are in the SMR state, our body is calm and we have mental alertness. That is 12 to 15 hertz. When we go into our irritability, when we're like really whacked out, we go into 20 hertz. And so that's why I started studying it, because Schumann's here has been going into the 40 hertz range. And we like it, generally speaking, at 16. So again, my favorite statement, what does that mean? All right. I asked my guides, I said, how does the Schumann's resonance affect us as human beings? So listen closely, ladies and gentlemen. Here is what I was able to talk to my guides about today. Do I have any scientific proof? No. Would I appreciate if anybody in the audience watching this has scientific proof and let me know and get back to me? Yes, I would love it. But here's what my guides say. They say that the Schumann's frequency has a 34% impact on the human brain. Okay, the way we think. So if that is true, then our perception of time can be altered by the electromagnetic frequency. So if you're one of those that contacted me and said, you know, I got up, I did my morning routine, and I was ready for lunch, it should have been 12 noon, it was only an hour later, what that tells me is the frequency of the planet combined with your personal frequency is being shifted so much that your perception of time is different. It also, the Schumann's, affects our nervous system by 75%. So those of you that find yourself edgy at certain times, if you're in my Sensitive Fight Club, which if you're on Facebook, type Sensitive Fight Club in the search engine, come on over, because I'm going to be sharing some more of this stuff and showing you so that you can see when the frequencies are going wiggy that, you know, it's about that and you're not off, right? Your cardiovascular system, your heart, your cardiovascular system is affected by 87% with Schumann's. And I had a lady reach out to me the other day and she's like, what's happening? You know, I had severe heart palpitations. There you go. Our autonomic nervous system, our fight or flight response, 87% is affected by the frequencies. So if you're having issues with being angry at other people, or your relationships are elevated to a point where, you can't stand the person anymore, you want them to move out, all those things have to do with the electromagnetic frequency of the planet and where we are in time and space. And I could talk about DNA and other things, but I don't want to get off on that. We're just focusing on the frequency tonight. Bioelectromagnetism. That's how your body talks to each other. There's electric impulses that hit your heart to tell it to pump, your lungs to breathe. That's bioelectromagnetism. And that is 56% is affected by the Schumanns. DNA is affected 40% right at the moment. So there you go. So basically the bottom line is that we are being affected by the frequencies. And I thought I might have to write something tonight. That's why I had the board behind me. But I really don't need to write anything or desire to write anything. But letting you know that you are affected by these things. And I did pull a scientific report. Then I asked my guides, how do you feel? So you might be saying to me, Deanna, I feel so lost right now. I don't know what to do next. You might say, I feel so isolated. Even if you have 6 other people in your home, you feel isolated right now. And you want to know, what's my next move, right? And if you feel isolated, you feel like you have nobody to talk to. And if you're an empath or a highly sensitive person, you might be doubting yourself right now more than ever. Self-doubt, fear. And you might even not have a clue as to what to do next. So that's fight, flight, or freeze. And a lot of you are freezing. So here's what I'm going to do. This July 25th, got the date right, July 25th, 2020, I'm going to offer, again, the beginning level of the Spiritual Awakening Academy. What does that do? With all these energies shifting, there are ways to mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically, and spiritually address all of these different things so you can feel more centered and you can feel more balanced. And when you feel more centered and balanced and connected to God's Spirit or Source, then you become unfrozen. Then you know what steps to take. Then you know what questions to ask. And all of this is included in that one class. It's about an hour and a half to roughly a little less than 2 hours. Depends on how much class participation we have. And then 2 weeks later, or a week later, we'll do a Q&A. The desired outcome is to be with you in real time. I use a Zoom platform. Be with you in real time and give you the tools that it takes to work through these things so that you're not so scared all the time. And I've been exhausted. I did the low lighting so I could write on the board without the reflection, but if you see dark circles, it's because I've been exhausted. And this is physically draining on me. And my body has been affected by it. I went to a naturopath the other day to help get some supplements to help myself feel better. So these are really tough times. And if you read the blog that I wrote on angels and ancestors and ascension, I wrote down here, and I will repeat it again, that, I tell people if they're working with me and I don't know how to help them, I will direct them to somebody who's been there, done that. Don't ever follow anybody who hasn't been there, done that. And I've been there, done that with strengthening myself spiritually in time and space and finding my center of balance. But have I ever done it in energies like these? Not that I remember. So what I wanted to say is, let's be real. No one has ever been here, done this, in this lifetime anyway. And it's tough. So give yourself the better odd. Give yourself the gift of knowing what to do every single day and protect yourself and shield yourself and do it without exhausting yourself, and learn how to do things that will help your mind, your body, your soul, your connection to God's Spirit or Source. Please, I would like you to know that that's what I'm offering. And I haven't changed any of that. I still believe in God's Spirit or Source. That's my boss. And I still know that I'm in a human body. But apparently, recently, some people have written me and they think that I've veered off the course. And I think that, you know, I've gone nuts and off the deep end. No, ladies and gentlemen, what I've done is I've pulled off the mask to show you what's really happening. Okay, what's really happening. I haven't steered off the course. I haven't gone to the dark side. I'm illuminating for you things that I'm learning from God's Spirit or Source and scientific reports. I'm walking both worlds, okay? To bring them together for your understanding, because there only is really one world. God's Spirit or Source created this world, set it in motion to work on bioelectromagnetism, and that's the way it is. If you don't like it, go complain to him. I have nothing to do with that. But what I have learned is how to navigate this time and space so it's less painful. So you can have perfect, righteous, spiritual character without freaking out all the time and having, you know, health issues all the time. Some of you will still have to go through some things just like I am. But let's bring it in, okay? If you are feeling lost right now, if you're having trouble feeling isolated, if you're doubting yourself, if you're doubting if this class will help you, will you be able to understand it? Is it too scary? You know, if you're sensitive, God gave you a gift. And it's time for you to use that gift. That's why I'm putting more subject matter out and different subject matter. You know, in the Bible it talks about the talents. And the master gave, you know, money to 3 guys. And one of the guys took his little piece of money and he went and hid it in the earth so he wouldn't lose it because he didn't want to disappoint his master. And the guy on the other end took it out and multiplied it and made lots and brought back lots. And the one in the middle made some. And when the master returned, he said, this one was great because he multiplied it. This one, yep, you're doing good. But the one who hid his talent, ooh, no, 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 no. So which one are you? Are you afraid? Don't be. Okay? So, looks like I have a couple of questions that I will cover for you here very quickly. Let's see here. What have we got? So I'm going to roll back to the top here. Oh, hello, Anna. Nice to see you. If you have friends that are, you know, having questions, you want to share the video, that's great. Last week's video got 7 shares on Facebook, so that's pretty awesome. Hi, Judy. Hi, Becky. Let's see here. Carol, happy Tuesday evening to you too. Let's see here. Let's see. She says, my dreams lately have to do with the 4th dimension. Is this related to the frequencies? Yeah, and I hesitate with the yeah there because that was, if you go back on Facebook when we're talking and see me stand in front of the whiteboard in a white t-shirt, that's going to answer part of your question. If you're on YouTube, it's the one dated before this. These frequencies are shifting. They're having an effect on our brain in time, and so the way we're understanding time and space is off a little, and it will also have effect on your dreams and your dream state. And if you're working in the 4th dimension, that's fabulous. So anyway, for those of you that are watching for the first time, if you'd like to go over to toolsofenergyprotection.com, right on the top bar, it says Spiritual Awakening Academy Power. That's the one that you desire to sign up for. Quickly, I only allow up to 20 students in the class because then I can get to everybody in real time. It'll have worksheets, it'll have handouts, we'll do some real-time exercises, but the idea is to take you out of fear and into the knowing. And if you're sitting there going, oh, I don't know if I should take this, you know, but yet you're seeing, feeling, and sensing things that other people don't, and you're afraid to talk to your friends about it, then take this class, okay? If you're still afraid, go to the Sensitive Fight Club on Facebook and join up there. You know, sometimes people will have open conversations, sometimes not. Sensitive sometimes will talk, and sometimes they kind of just watch everybody else. And that's the way it goes, right? Let's see here. Genesis says, I had a lot of ringing in my ears over the past few days. Genesis, yes. High-pitched whines is part of the Schumanns. Because as the frequency of the earth shifts and changes, it's going to shift how we receive energy waves. And when you're highly tuned, when you're more spiritually awake, aware, or gifted, those high-pitched whines will continue to where they're almost every single moment, and continuous. And I know that drives some of you nuts. So if you have that high-pitched whine, that means that you do have more access to the universal consciousness, God, Spirit, or Source, angels, and ancestors. Okay, then Genesis says, I've been having a hard time remembering my dreams lately too. That is not unusual either. So if you're dreaming and you're not remembering it, chances are it's just REM. Could also be some of your issues being resolved. So anyway, that's it. I was going to use the word like I said, but I think we've gotten everything across that we desire to. So I'm going to ask you that if you feel like you are ready and you would like to just talk to me. In the bookstore on Thursdays, I get to talk to people and, you know, just answer their questions. So if you go to toolsofenergyprotection.com and click on personal sessions, then scroll down to where it says coffee talk or coffee chat. That is a space that I reserve for those of you that just want to chat for a little bit. And we'll do it live on Zoom, and it'll just be you and me. And you can talk to me in real time and ask me your questions. And then if you feel like we're a fit, great, we'll work together. If you feel like we're not a fit, no worries. Then we won't work together. I'm making this as simple and easy as possible. I'm sending big love and hugs to everyone. I know this is not an easy time, and nobody can say, been there, done that. But I have been working on myself for years and learning to walk in divine love and learning to wield the energies to make things a lot simpler so that you don't have to suffer so much, so you don't have to live in fear, so you don't have to cry at the drop of a hat. The only other thing I'm having challenges with is words lately. But that's it. So if there's no more questions, that's great. Please, please, please share this video if you know anybody who's having issues, who doesn't understand what's happening. Time for them to wake up, especially when we can wrap scientific studies into it, because then they know it's not just woo-woo. Anyways, big hugs and kisses. Mwah. I'll see you Thursday at the bookstore, 303-964-9339. Bye. Good? Okay. God, that felt so awkward tonight. I just